You know what there isn't enough of on the internet? Lumberjacks who don't understand what words mean. This guy might have a great beard, but he's a barbarian. Sorry, you're in the woods and you're wearing a flannel shirt. You're a lumberjack that thinks organised religion is wrong, that atheism leads to religious hatred, and agnosticism is the only way to dupe people into believing in his God. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. Brian Denlinger, the born-again barbarian, is involved with King James Video Ministries, and he's already off to a bad start. Why would you name a ministry after the dumbest of the versions of the Bible, the one that loses all grasp of reality and mentions dragons and unicorns? At least the other versions of the Bible try to have some level of realism. Brian is here to set the record straight and convert atheists, but not to what you'd initially think. So before finding out what Brian wants atheists to become, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe and the bell, and maybe the algorithm can be converted too. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos. Where is Waldo, Flonk Sauce Dragon and B Velky83. And a big thank you to channel members who get to use Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. Are you ready to be converted? I know I am. I've thought about nothing else for what feels like minutes.
I want to convert atheists to agnostics.
Have you done YouTube before, Brian? You kind of do a whole build-up, tease folks into hanging around. Don't make a 17-minute video and give away the ending in the first 5 seconds. Do I point out the stupidity here already as to why you've made a colossal mistake this early on about the difference between agnosticism and atheism? If I did, I guess I'd have to end the video here. So maybe try not to say too much stupid stuff, Brian, and let's get at least a bit of a video going here.
You thought I was going to say Christianity, didn't you?
Thought no. Hoped yes, because then we wouldn't have this awkward thing of me pretending you didn't just say something stupid so early in the video and hoping you say it again so we can do this properly.
Of course you did. But the truth is, I'd rather see an atheist become an agnostic. You say, why is that? Because if you're really truly looking for knowledge, you are without knowledge. The true scientific position, if you say that your life is dictated by science, then being an agnostic is the way to go.
Well, fuck me. Maybe I didn't give Lonely Wood Wanderer enough credit. He got that bit right. Okay, this could be fun after all. Yes, Gnosticism is to do with knowledge, but atheism is just not believing in gods. It's not a stepping stone between belief and non-belief. I would say, as would many others, that I'm an agnostic atheist. But then that takes too long to say, and I'm not convinced of God, so atheist works just fine.
And if you say that, and if you are truly looking for knowledge and for wisdom, the Bible says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men, liberally and upbraideth not. God will never correct you. God will never punish you for asking for wisdom. True wisdom. Okay?
So much for being agnostic if you're throwing Bible verses in folks' faces. Your description says that it wants people to turn away from organised religion, and yet this book probably takes a lot of organising to print and distribute.
But I want to turn people away from atheism for a number of reasons. First and foremost, because atheism is inherently religious. You say, huh? What? No, it's the absence of religion. Oh, no, it's not actually, because I've dealt with atheists over the years, and they are some of the most fanatical, righteous, self-righteous people I've ever met.
Is that what you think religions are? Self-righteous arseholes? I mean, I would tend to agree with you. And it's the absence of God, not absence of religion, that makes you atheist. You were doing so well.
Atheism would be more aptly named anti-religionism.
Brian, buddy, maybe put down the nature and open up a laptop. Get some information from somewhere other than that one atheist you met in your small town. You can be an anti-theist atheist. The not believing that gods are real is still very much there.
And I understand why. Again, I'll get into that. Where I don't agree with atheists in a lot of the areas, the stands that they take as a Bible-believing Christian preacher.
That doesn't like organised religion. Something isn't adding up here. Maybe he wants to start a cult.
But the whole thing is, if you say you're an atheist, okay, then I would say simply, okay, you're an atheist. What does that mean?
It means I've stopped believing in make-believe things that other people told me was real. Though, actually, I've never believed in a god. But really, when it comes to the claims of any gods, I am not convinced, so I am atheist.
What means I don't believe in God, in the existence of God? Oh, what's God? Well, the Christian God or whatever, the God of the Bible, and thinks, oh, what about the God of the Bible? See, what are you doing? You have to study religion in order to be against religion.
Oh, maybe I'm Hindu then, because I also don't believe in those gods. Or maybe I'm some kind of ancient Roman or Greek, because I don't believe in those gods either. What were you saying about self-righteous, thinking that your silly religion is the only silly religion? Atheists aren't just not convinced of Christian gods, it's all of them. Did you chop down a tree and it fell on your head?
You need to know your subject. You need to argue with Christians and get into debates with Christians and all this other stuff. And you need to understand the stands that they take.
Mate, if you want me to pay attention, just ask. I can take you for a beer or go gaming with you. And at the end of the evening, I'll be very gentle. I moisturise. But why do I have to listen to you drone on about why you think an imaginary sky wizard is real? You think it is, I don't, end of.
So therefore, you become someone who has to study religion and debate religion.
Debate? Nah, debates aren't my thing. Listen to people say I think this is why God is real, and then saying, well, that's stupid is far more my thing.
Whereas if you say I am an agnostic, I am lacking wisdom. I don't understand.
Wisdom? No. Knowledge of? That would be better. But you can lack knowledge of the existence of a god, or rather not know if there is or isn't one, which every person on the planet does or doesn't do, because, you know, a god would have been proven, but still not believe in it. Because why would you believe in something you don't know? I don't know if there are tiny little goblins living under my deck. It doesn't mean I should believe in them.
That's a much more scientific stand to take. Any branch of science, found this balloon here if you didn't see the last video, back here on my property, but any branch of science, they start out with that very thing. All science starts out with an agnostic situation. It has to, if it's real science.
It starts out as I don't know, but then goes to find the best understanding of said thing. I can tell you that that hasn't happened with a god.
If you have a religious type of a conviction, that can taint your scientific results.
Taint.
And I will say that as a Bible-believing Christian. You need to say, okay, let me say it this way. This balloon here, obviously this is not natural. It has a little white ribbon on it and everything else. I found it back there. I was walking in my other video there. Now, if I want to find this, track this back to whatever person let this go, it was a brilliant idea to let it go in the area or something, and it can travel hundreds of miles or something with it's the jet stream, right? Or you know, I would have to do a bunch of things. Right now, do I know who sent this balloon here?
You think someone sent a balloon specifically to your location? Jeez, their beliefs get weirder and weirder, I swear.
Do I know the person's name? No. Do I know the store that sold it? No. Do I know if there was an event that put red shiny balloons into the air? No. There's a lot of things that I am lacking in terms of wisdom. I don't know. Now I can say, I don't believe that there is a balloon. Or, you know, I see the balloon, but I don't believe that there was a person that actually sent it.
And that would be bloody stupid, because the balloon can be seen. We know how balloons are made, how they get tied up with ribbon, how helium works. You know what hasn't been seen? A god. Like ever.
Well, that's kind of not really scientific.
Exactly.
Obviously, if there's a balloon, somebody had to send it. You know, there's a little barcode back there. You know, the barcode on it, and it says, sorry for the noise here, kale.
If that balloon identifies as kale, who's it hurting? Leave it alone.
Kaleidoscope? Yeah, okay, kaleidoscope. Right there. If it'll focus on that. Kaleidoscope and the barcode. And number 123. That gives me a little bit more information. But to say I deny that this thing had a person that sent it out. That this thing just kind of formed of its own and just kind of flew off and it landed on my property. Or maybe it evolved from the dirt. Maybe it came up out of the dirt and just, you know, well, okay. And why would you be saying that?
Well, you're doing a great job of asking questions, but it's much easier with a physical thing that you can hold. But gods aren't physical things. All you have is people shouting that it's real. And that's it. What if there was a catalogue that had no pictures but had a description of the balloon, but you'd never actually get to see the balloon? It doesn't prove the balloon exists. So believing in the balloon just because it says so in the catalogue would be silly.
Well, because I don't like the kind of people that litter, so I'm just going to go against the people that would have sent this and say that I don't believe in those types of people. No, that's not scientific.
Right. going, here is the balloon would be the best way to prove the existence of the balloon.
All right, if you are an atheist, your issues with God, which shouldn't be there.
And they're not, for me, because I don't believe in it. I can't have issues with something I don't think is real.
Because I really think that your issues are more with religious people, but...
Of course they are, because God doesn't exist in reality, but religious people think it does, and then do dumb shit on its non-existent behalf. It's really annoying.
Okay, you have an issue with the God of the Bible, you hate the God of the Bible, you've read through the Bible, you've heard your professor read through the Bible or some kind of thing, and it's just a horrible, terrible, murderous, misogynistic, racist, homophobic, hateful, whatever type of a thing.
I mean, it is those things, but that's a separate issue, because I'm not convinced of the God, but silly people think that they need to live their life by the good book, which isn't that good because of all the dumb stuff in it, you know, rape, slavery, genocide, stoning gay people. That's the issue. And that's why many atheists are also anti-theist, because theists are idiots.
And so you say, I hate a God like that. I'm going to gather anything I can against that God. Well, okay, but then you're forming another religion, right?
Mate, not being convinced of gods is not a religion. This is why folks are anti-theist. The theists make up crap to suit them.
A religion of God-hating. You know, I mean, and again, look at religion. Look at organized religion. How often do these people, you know, in organized religion, they fight against each other? There's wars that they fight against each other.
By spreading lies about them, misunderstanding maybe. Oh, what is it that you're doing?
Are you trying to get to the point where there's enough atheists to fight against, you know, the Roman Catholic Church or maybe Islam or the Jews or something like that?
What kind of projection is this? I've never heard of any atheists wanting to start a war. The ones I know just have a laugh at how ridiculous it is that grown adults believe in really stupid shit.
You know, I mean, what are you doing? Okay? Become an agnostic. Say, you know, okay, in my current world, I don't know, I don't really see. I mean, okay, there's a creation, but how do we know which creation story is correct? Or if there was a creator or whatever, it would seem to be somewhat logical that if there's a creation, there should be a creator.
You're confusing there is stuff with this is creation. I'm not convinced that things were created. You are. So, you know, prove it.
It seems kind of illogical to say that everything, you know, that this balloon popped up out of the ground by itself. Well, obviously not.
If you can't work out where balloons come from, that's really a you problem.
Yet, you know, somehow all the trees here and all the leaves on the trees, that could have come by itself.
Did you just fall asleep in science class? We got to grow plants from seeds in primary education. That's like the elementary school stuff. And this is why I think folks like this are idiots. They're just not even trying anymore.
Of course not. Not very logical. So you say, yeah, but look at religion. Okay, but what you have to realize is, and when you know, if you are agnostic and you're truly looking to know what's going on, you want, you know, gnosis, you want knowledge, you say, you know what, I wonder why there's so much division in this Christianity stuff.
Being agnostic means you don't know about the existence of gods. How on earth are you getting to which flavour of Christianity is the least bitter?
I wonder why there's so much fighting within religion. See, if it was just some kind of a mind control cult, wouldn't they all believe the same way?
Same way? Yes, in that they're convinced of something that they've been told or read is real. But the same thing? No, because there are different cultures that believe different things. I used to be an idiot that thought ghosts were real. Now I'm fortunate enough to only believe in the one thing that does make sense, that the universe was farted into existence by Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leaf be upon her. I wish you were agnostic about that. Oh, hang on.
Maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's I wonder if there's such a thing as a real group of Christians that actually follows the Bible. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I could learn. Maybe I could study. And what you'll find out if you do actually take the time, and I realize it's like finding a needle in a haystack, trying to find real Christians. Believe me, we struggle with that all the time as Christians. But if you do take the time to study, you'll find, ironically, that as an agnostic, you will come to the conclusion that you actually agree with many of standards of a Bible-believing Christian.
So you're an agnostic theist, and that's where you find that theism and Gnosticism aren't the same. You believe in a God, I don't, neither of us have knowledge. You've just disproven your own point.
You say, like what? Church buildings are corrupt. There are no church buildings in the New Testament. They went to Jewish synagogues occasionally, and they got thrown in prison for doing it. But there was never one time in the New Testament where God said to a Christian, I want you to build a church, and I want you to wear your Sunday best, and I want the people to give 10% tithe to pay off your mortgage, and, you know, all the stuff that these modern church buildings do. Not once. Isn't that weird?
That's your problem with Christianity sugar-free or whatever. Nothing to do with atheism.
Not once is there ever any kind of an inclination at a Christian nation. All right? Christians are said to be in the minority in the scriptures. Jesus Christ himself, the founder of Christianity, said that there would be the road that leads to life is narrow, and few there be that find it. It's not a thing where a very popular movement and, you know, we're filling up sports stadiums with Christians and whatever else. And what you would find if you study this situation, and if you would look into what constitutes a Bible-believing Christian like me, the vast majority of people that are in religion, organized religions, they hate my guts.
Well, I can get behind that sentiment, yeah. We don't like Christian nationalism, and unfortunately, it's going that way, but I'm not going to make this political because this is a channel about why I think it's silly to believe in gods.
Many of them will not even say my name. I'm that much of a heretic to these people. So, I wish it was an easy answer. I mean, ultimately it is. Just ask God for wisdom, or search for wisdom. You don't even have to ask God at the beginning.
You'd be pretty screwed if Thor was the one that answered. And that's just as likely because none of them exist.
If you can leave your atheistic religion and say, you know what, I am going to become an agnostic. Okay?
Well, I'm not in a religion because that's bloody stupid, as I've already said. But if it makes you feel better, I will say I'm agnostic. An agnostic atheist. It's really not hard to grasp.
And you don't even have to profess. You don't have to become a card-carrying member of Agnostics Are Us or something like that. No.
Good, because I've already got my membership for the Satanic Church and I'm running out of space in my wallet.
Just say, okay, I will be an agnostic mentally. I lack the wisdom. I don't have any understanding of this. Maybe there is a God out there somewhere, or I don't know. Maybe there are real people that are against the right things, and I have no idea.
I don't have any idea, but I'm also not convinced. I don't believe, and both of those things can be true at the same time.
And if you do that, and you start to actually look for the truth, God will get in contact with you. I'll promise you that.
Or you think it will, but you probably have to have some level of being told what to believe before that, and then be gullible enough to accept it.
And see, if I was stupid, what I would do is I would say,
there is a God?
Oh, come to Jesus, and and I would sell Jesus as a product, which is exactly what the modern churches do. Jesus is a something that they can market. And if I was going to do that, little inchworm right there, see on my hand?
Insert holding an inch in his hand joke.
Hanging out. You want to go back up? He doesn't want to let go of my hand now.
So many penis jokes.
They hang on these little like silk thread things, from their mouth. Pretty interesting. Come on, go on the tree there. All right, there he is. Don't tell me that evolved, but whatever, that's another issue.
Did you just sleep through all science at school?
And if I just said to people, to an atheist, here's what you need to do to get saved, and you actually get an atheist that would say, you know what, I'm starting to wonder about this. I think I'm going to get saved. And you know what, there's a church. I might go to a church. They have something about Jesus out front in their signboard there, and maybe I'll go in there. Don't go into those places.
Not quite the noises I would make. Mine would be more like, duh, how dumb do you think I am? Which, I mean, I am. I'm a brainless circle. But even I'm not dumb enough to think there was a supernatural son of a bearded cloud man just because it says so in a few versions of the same book.
To put this video out there, I'm going to be doing some more things because I do know I have atheists that watch this channel because they see that I'm saying some things that not many Christian preachers will say. And it's because I came out of organized religion and I realized how wicked that system is.
Well, maybe you are on the right path to realizing that actually it's all pretty much man-made garbage and there's no real reason to accept that there is a God, and that accepting the Bible before it's been proven to be the word of the God it speaks of is a little silly.
The Bible says in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11, it says about how that Satan's ministers appear as the ministers of righteousness.
Brian, If this is a video aimed at atheists, you don't want to be quoting Bible verses.
No one cares!
I'm not sure if Brian had good arguments there for not being an atheist. Actually, yes I am, and he didn't. But it started to seem like he was going more toward the route of eventually not believing himself, and I am here for it. The wheels are turning, just don't let them fall off, Bri. Do you think folks should stop calling themselves atheist and just say agnostic? Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as Brian being ever so close on a couple of occasions. Just so close. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon. Dark Ether Piao, Tamo, The Barely Bearable Atheist, George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockhart, The Enixes, Jakari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech Fred, Rick and Ray, as well as all the $3 base ticks and channel members. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description, along with links to all my other socials. Or become a member by hitting the join button below this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.